As King Inglize of Silver lay on his deathbed, he could feel the weight of the world on his shoulders. His body was weak, but his spirit burned bright with the memories of his battles against the darkness that had threatened humanity. It was then that he saw her, the beautiful and divine goddess Alistia. She appeared before him, bathed in a shimmering light that filled the room with an otherworldly glow. Inglize felt a sense of peace wash over him as she spoke. Inglize, you have served humanity well. For your service, I shall grant your wish to be reincarnated so that you may master the blade. Inglize felt a rush of excitement and anticipation as he accepted the goddess's offer. He closed his eyes and drifted off into a peaceful slumber, not knowing what the future held. When Inglize awoke hundreds of years later, he was shocked to find himself in the body of a baby girl. He retained his old name, but his family gave him the nickname Chris. As Chris grew up, he learned that humanity had forgotten the use of magic called Ether, but they had discovered runes that allowed them to use magical artifacts to fight off monsters called magicite beasts. One day, when Chris was still a baby, a magicite dragon attacked him and his family. Chris could feel the power of Ether surging within him, and he knew that he had to act fast. With his family's lives on the line, he drew upon his previous life's training and killed the dragon with a single strike. As Chris grew older, he began to explore the world around him. He discovered that his cousin Raphina, whom he called Ronnie, shared his love for the sword. Together, they watched Raphael, Ronnie's older brother, training to become a knight in the courtyard. But when a merchant's son named Rawl defeated all the knight trainees with ease, Chris knew that something was amiss. He could sense that Rawl was cheating, using a spell to slow down his opponents when they looked into his eyes. Determined to avenge his cousin Raphael, Chris challenged Rawl to a duel. Using his previous life sword skills, Chris closed his eyes and relied solely on his instincts and muscle memory. And to the crowd's delight, Chris emerged victorious, showing that true skill and courage could never be defeated by cheap tricks and illusions. With every victory, Chris felt a sense of fulfillment and purpose. He knew that he was destined for greatness and that he would stop at nothing to defend the people he loved. Chris and Ronnie were now 6 years old, and it was time for their baptism. The ceremony would grant them runes, which would give them magical powers and enable them to use artifacts. Ronnie was ecstatic, hoping to get a high-class rune, but Chris had different plans. She purposely botched her baptism, becoming runeless on purpose so she could focus on her sword skills and avoid anyone's attention on her real power. 6 years passed, and Chris and Ronnie found themselves at a grand banquet. The ambassador from Highland, the floating island that provided the surface kingdoms with artifacts in exchange for tribute and supplies, was in attendance. Chris felt uncomfortable with so many men looking at her, as she preferred the company of women. But then, she was introduced to Raphael's colleague, Sir Leon, and his partner, Eris. Chris was amazed to learn that they were artifacts that could transform into humans. Despite her reservations, Chris found herself drawn to them and their power. But the evening took a dark turn when Rawl, now a Highlander and the ambassador from Highland, killed a noble for stopping him from forcing a female knight to sleep with him. He then threatened Lord Bilford, demanding he gets what he wanted. Chris knew she had to act fast to defuse the situation. She bravely stepped forward, taking the knight's place, with everyone unaware that she planned to fight Rawl. However, Eris, Sir Leon's partner, tried to stop Chris from making a grave mistake. A fight broke out between the two, with Chris excited to have found a powerful opponent. As Chris prepared to use her powers, Eris suddenly let her go after realizing that Chris was not as weak as she had thought. As Chris begged Eris to continue their fight, Eris was suddenly attacked by Sir Leon. Chris couldn't believe what she was seeing. She had thought that Sir Leon and Eris were allies, but now they were fighting against each other. She realized that the world was more complicated than she had thought and that even those closest to her could have secrets. Filled with a burning desire to uncover the truth, Chris knew that she would have to be brave and face whatever dangers lay ahead. With her sword in hand and her heart filled with determination, she took her first step on a journey that would change her life forever. Sir Leon stood in the dimly lit alleyway, his eyes filled with fierce determination. He had finally had enough of the Highlanders' mistreatment of the surface people and their monopoly on artifacts. It was time to take action. He had joined the Steelblood Front, an anti-Highlander group that aimed to create their Hyrule Menace, a powerful weapon that could rival the Highlanders. And tonight, he was on a mission to kidnap Eris, the daughter of a wealthy surface dweller, to aid in their cause. But just as he was about to grab her, a figure appeared out of nowhere and stood in his way. It was Chris, a skilled warrior and defender of the surface people. She had heard of Leon's plan and had come to stop him. A fierce battle ensued, but in the end, Chris emerged victorious. Leon managed to escape, but not before he had used Prismer powder on Rawl, one of Chris's trusted allies. The powder had turned Rawl into a magicite beast, a dangerous and uncontrollable creature. Chris and Eris knew they had to act fast to prevent Rawl from causing harm to innocent people. They kicked the beast out to the outskirts of the city, hoping to contain the damage. But as they watched in horror, Rawl's rage continued to grow. With no other options left, Chris revealed her secret technique, Ether Strike, and unleashed it upon the monster. The force was so great that it killed Raul instantly. Eris left, promising to keep Chris's powers a secret. Years passed, and Chris and Ronnie, her apprentice and now a skilled warrior in her own right, left their home to join the Royal Academy in the capital to become knights. On their journey, they stopped at the bustling city of Nova and met Lady Siren, a Highlander who was beloved by the people for improving their lives after taking over the city. But their peaceful rest was short-lived as they discovered that Lady Siren's former knights had turned to banditry, led by their ruthless leader, Hawk. Determined to bring them to justice, Chris, Ronnie, and Lady Siren's soldiers headed to the bandits' hideout. What they found there was shocking. The bandits had a Hyrule menace in their ranks, a powerful weapon that could give them the upper hand in any battle. But Chris and her team refused to back down. They were determined to stop the bandits and their dangerous weapons, no matter the cost. As Ronnie and Lady Siren's forces clashed with the bandits, Chris found herself facing off against Sister Rouge, a member of the Steel Blood Front who wielded the powerful Hyrule menace known as Sister Rouge. As they exchanged blows, Chris felt a thrill of excitement course through her veins. She had always enjoyed a good fight, and Sister was proving to be a formidable opponent. But their battle was cut short when Sister suddenly took Ronnie hostage. Chris was forced to back down and let Sister and her accomplices escape. She couldn't bear the thought of anything happening to her young apprentice. With the bandits captured, Lady Siren thanked Chris and Ronnie for their help, but then she revealed a shocking secret that left them reeling. The Highlanders had secretly put a magic circle under the land in Nova, intending to turn it into a floating island under their control. The people of Nova would either be forced to leave or become slaves to the Highlanders. Lady Siren was opposed to this plan and was willing to fight her people to ensure that the inhabitants of Nova were treated as equals. Ronnie was moved by her words and vowed to help in any way she could. That night, Lady Siren suddenly transformed into a magicite beast after being poisoned by her maid, who wanted revenge against the Highlanders for killing her son. Chris and Ronnie were at a loss for what to do until they reluctantly joined forces with Sistja and the leader of the Steel Blood Front, a mysterious man with a black mask. It turned out that the black masked man also possessed Ether, just like Chris. Together, they worked to freeze Lady Siren in ice while the black masked man used his power to shrink her and remove the prismer from her body. Thanks to their combined efforts, they were able to save Lady Siren, who was now a small, harmless creature named Renee. Chris and Ronnie left Nova with heavy hearts, but the Black Masked Man promised them that the Steel Blood Front would protect the people of Nova and remove the magic circle. As they continued on their journey to the Knight Academy, Chris made a promise to herself. One day, she would find a cure to turn Renee back to her normal self. Until then, they would do everything in their power to ensure that the people of Nova were safe from harm. As Chris and Ronnie arrived at the city of Alaman, they were met with a sight that left them awestruck. There, at the heart of the city, was a giant magicite beast, frozen in a block of ice. Its massive frame loomed over the city's defenders, who were tasked with protecting the beast from any who would dare to disturb it. But their respite was short-lived as a horde of magicite beasts descended upon the city, their eyes glowing with a ferocious hunger. Chris and Ronnie, alongside Leon Alpha, a fellow Knight Academy student, sprang into action, their swords clashing against the beast's tough hides. Despite their valiant efforts, the city's defenders refused to reward Leon for her bravery, calling her a traitor because of her brother, Sir Leon's actions. The Alpha family had been ostracized and discriminated against, despite being innocent of any wrongdoing. Leon, however, remained determined to prove her worth and redeem her family's honor by becoming a knight and apprehending her brother. Their journey took them to the royal capital, where Chris and Ronnie were eager to begin their studies at the Knight Academy. Principal Miriella wasted no time in challenging the students with a test that required them to escape from her golems. Chris emerged victorious, earning herself and her friends a month's worth of free food. But the challenges didn't end there, as Lyslot Arsha, a fellow student, refused to have Leon as her roommate. Chris and Ronnie stood by their friend's side, welcoming Leon into their dorm room and defending her against those who would judge her based on her brother's actions. As the night drew to a close, Leon expressed her gratitude towards Chris and Ronnie, thanking them for accepting her as a friend despite the stigma surrounding her family. With newfound determination in her heart, Leon vowed to become a knight and clear her family's name once and for all. Chris, Ronnie, and Leon were in awe as they gazed at the magnificent flying vehicles called Flygears. As they listened to their teacher, a sense of excitement filled their hearts as they couldn't wait to get their hands on one of those machines. Chris, in particular, showed great talent for flying, which caught the attention of the others. Days passed, and the students continued to learn about Flygears until one day, Principal Miriella selected Chris, Ronnie, Leon, Lyslot, and Pullum, who were the top students in their year, for a special test. The test involved escaping the labyrinth of the ordeal's dimension in a limited time while testing both their physical and mental skills. As they entered the labyrinth, Chris was confronted with apparitions of her memories, some from her previous life. Despite the challenges, she easily defeated the apparitions and moved on to the next challenge. As Chris moved deeper into the labyrinth, she encountered Lyslot. Lyslot apologized to Chris for her previous behavior and revealed that she was too harsh in judging Leon. She then used her powerful artifact to help Chris escape the labyrinth. Together, the three friends helped Leon face her apparitions, and Lyslot apologized to her for her previous behavior. In the end, Chris, Ronnie, Leon, and Lyslot passed the test with flying colors. The four girls were overjoyed at their success and decided to celebrate by having a small party. They chatted and laughed, sharing stories and getting to know each other better. Finally, Lyslot accepted Leon as her roommate, and the girls cheered in excitement.
How was the video? We hope it was good. If so, please check these videos. Also, please comment down your thoughts and your suggestions for future videos. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing now to show the support to our channel. We hope to see you soon with another video right in this channel. Have a nice day.